Hi guys, this is Teacher Ricky at Trimex Colleges and we are in our series on personal and career development. Now this is a series of vlogs to help students navigate their path towards a career they want after college. Now we are also helping people who wish to grow in their current careers and also for anyone who wants to explore venues of income generating opportunities. We will give you tips and interview important people in the top of the careers who can help you and inspire you grow. Now, so subscribe, like, and share this channel to your family and friends who wish to invest in themselves. Now, for our guest today, let me introduce to you a friend of mine. His name is Mr. Sid Garcia. He took up his AB Philosophy in Ateneo de Manila University and currently the Data Protection Officer at Third Pillar Business Application Incorporated. So let's go to the interview.
Hello, good morning, Sid Garcia. This is my friend from
Good
high
morning,
school.
Ricky.
Sid right now is a DPO, and today he will be discussing what he does, where he works, and his responsibilities, and also hopefully encourage you guys na mag-DPO rin after or think of that career in now for the future. Hi, Sid. Good morning.
Good morning, Ricky.
So tell us more
Concerns,
about
yes.
DPO,
All
being
right.
DPO.
Sige. The title is Data Protection Officer. It's under the Data Privacy Office.
Mm.
So the function of the DPO is to protect
Yeah.
your privacy. So that's how the terms are generally used. I'm the Data Protection Officer of Third Pillar Business Applications Inc. Third Pillar is an IT consulting firm recently acquired by Globe
Mm.
Telecom. So we
Congratulations.
are now a subsidiary. Thank you. We are now a subsidiary of Globe Telecom. We are a small company, a startup company, less than 100 employees. We started with about maybe 6, 7.
Mm.
Now we ramped up for the past 6 years, and we got acquired by Globe.
Mm.
And Globe, since it's uh, a big corporation, their data privacy practice is very mature. There's like a whole team that that was formed
Mm.
and constantly looking into data protection, also slash information security, which is the mother organization or mother group. So data privacy office falls under the information security office.
I see.
Not, yeah.
So what are your responsibilities in terms of,
All right. Okay. The main the data protection officer, the DPO, is an independent office or independent individual in a company. So
mm,
you're hired, you come in, you check out the processes and procedures of the process owners and see if there is protection of data subjects.
this
Just to
is
give a
data
little background.
subjects. I'm sorry, excuse me. This is data projects of the people, the customers that you're serving, and also of the company. So you're both protecting the customers as well as your company. Yun ba yun? Or
Um,
just the
Siguro for
customers?
just a definition of terms, a data subject is any individual that has information, personal information. So
Mm.
that is what a data protection officer is trying to protect.
Mm.
So just for as an example, for your school or your office, you will identify who's in the office and whose data was shared. So that's everybody, no,
Correct.
from president all the way to I guess the messenger.
Right.
Everyone's information is
Protected.
taken or collected
Right.
I will just use some data protection terms. No, so
Right.
the information is collected. So example, name, address, cell phone number,
SSS.
age, and SSS, photo. Diba?
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
photos are asked. Um, and so that all falls under personal information. And to separate it, there is personal information, sensitive personal
Right.
information, and privileged information. So the potential for breach is the sensitive personal information because it's an
Mm.
identifier of who you are. There's probably a Ricky Cruz, a couple
Several.
of thousand Ricky Cruz,
Several.
several,
Sure. Mm.
not as yeah. And then there's a Ricky Cruz that's looks like you, wears a cap, and has a SSS pag-ibig number, TIN number, and
Right.
that is sensitive personal information because it identifies you already.
Mm.
So when a company who has collected that information about you accidentally
Mm.
loses that or shares it to the outside world, they are liable for a breach on
Mm.
your data, your data privacy. So that's what generally the data privacy office protects.
Okay.
The personal information of data subjects. And when you're talking about customers, it is the same.
Right.
When a customer shares his information, name, normally with customers, that's why there's a default. We try not to get birthdays and
Mm.
any government issued IDs because that is the most dangerous. It's sensitive personal information. But with consent, because you're giving consent of the information, that's usually the name, a cell phone siguro, and the email. That's just very general. Yung
Mm.
mga address kasi ng company, it's public eh. It's public information. You're not gonna get in trouble sharing a company's address. But sharing a person's home address is another matter.
Correct.
Aside from data privacy, there's confidentiality that there's a violation of confidentiality there. But let's stick with data privacy. If I got the information of the customer, let's say it's a president of a big bank,
Mm.
and I get his cell phone because we were dealing with each other, and
Mm.
I loosely just share it to somebody else, and that somebody else contacts him. He
Mm.
can now ask, "Where'd you get my number?"
Mm.
And then, kasi it is personal for him.
Mm.
So that's a potential breach. I'm not saying you might go to jail or pay damages for that, but at the minimum, it's reputational damage on your part because the president who gave you the number will probably not give you anything else because a
Right.
trust was there was a breach of trust, not
Right.
exactly a breach of data privacy because it's not sensitive yung information
Mm.
because somebody else could have, you can deny
Right.
that you
Right.
got the kasi nga when you're going to prove that it came from you, we go legal now, law, it's difficult to prove that
Oo nga.
because
That's
that
true.
cell phone number, thousands of people know that already. It might be on his Facebook or what have you,
Right.
um, uh, but the reputational yung nawala on that is compromise with you and the president. Do you think you're gonna get business with this person again? No.
No.
Thus, when you talk about data privacy, you just have to be a little sensitive, a little bit paranoid on what you share. And that, to your point a while ago about Facebook and Apple, or the other different companies that have compromised our data,
Right.
um,
Right.
you just have to be sensitive on what you post because you can get in trouble. There have been many situations where people post, those shaming videos where
Right.
they take videos of sa gym. There's an example of an actress who took a video of a lady who was in the gym, and reason she's in the gym, she's trying to get fit, and made comments about her body,
Oh, body shaming.
cellulite, body shaming, cellulites and all. Unfortunately, face was captured, and she can be identified.
Right.
So
Ah.
she can file a case. She can file a case against that actress, and I'm almost sure she's gonna settle. So you're gonna pay. You're
Yeah.
not gonna go to jail because it's not that big a crime, but you're gonna pay. So aside
Right.
from the yung social media flack of body shaming, which is not acceptable, let's just go legal, and you're gonna get in trouble with the law because you violated her data privacy.
Right.
Not and you're gonna pay if she pursues it. So if you know your rights and
Right.
somebody else knows their rights, violations can be reported. It's a The data privacy law is a 2012 law,
Right.
so it's been around,
Right.
but the implementation is still kind of slow. A
Ongoing.
lot of people, it's still ongoing, but eventually the National Privacy Commission will be one of the most powerful departments in the country because of data
Especially
privacy,
now.
and it's globe. Yeah, and it's
Especially now.
global.
Mm.
It's
Wow,
it's global.
global.
The data privacy is global. So there's the GDPR. The European standards
Mm.
are very very strict.
Mm.
If you notice, let me share. No, when you download an app, there are some apps that will ask you so many things before you can even download the app. It's
Right.
asking you for your consent. That's what you
I
asking. So you
agree. I
uh,
agree too.
I agree. Tapos there are some apps that you check. Merong minimum eh. Kasi the minimum is you give your email and your
Mm.
name.
Right.
Diba? So now, of
Right.
course, yung name mo, you can come up with whatever name, right? But the email is an identifier to you. Because for
Mm.
you to be able, you cannot just invent an email. Otherwise, you still cannot download the app.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
So
Uh,
that's almost an automatic, legitimate email that you're giving. Now, as to your name, it could be just um,
Ricky Cruz.
Ricky Garcia. It doesn't matter. Pero yung email will connect you. So if you're talking hacking, if they get into your
Wow.
email, obviously they can now get into your whole ecosystem, and your privacy can be compromised because
Mm.
it will really be connected to a Ricky Cruz. That's why they ask for your consent. And when you give your consent, it's over. Tipong
Over for the
uh,
consumer of the app.
in a way, if the app maker is spies,
Unscrupulous.
has nefarious, unscrupulous, they can mine your data. That's why whatever you give out, you should be ready to give out. So
Ah.
that's why you have to be careful what you share,
Mm.
what you consent to. It's just yun na yung we're talking, even the legitimate apps. What are you ready to share? You think when you share an app, kunwari, di ba Facebook was launched 2007
Right.
roughly.
Right.
So then we all wanted to get into it, right? So there are some, I think even earlier pa. I got into pala it 2007 because of one of her friends who told me get into it to reconnect with people
Oh,
and
social
business.
networking nga. Oh, totoo.
Social
Totoo.
networking, no? So I got into it because of that. And sa atin, in our country, when you log into Facebook, we are an op we generally, when we registered, we opted in for everything in
Everything.
Facebook.
True.
Everything. And then you what you do is you go to your settings, and then you opt out. You start opting out. Share my news feed, share my photo, share my birthday. But remember, the
Uh,
first time you put in, pinasok mo lahat, right?
right.
And then when you first open your page,
Everything's
everything
there.
is exposed.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why kung hindi ka, if you're not like techie, or you don't know all these rules, how many people really read the fine print on the terms and conditions?
No one.
Do you?
No.
Because
It's
number
too
one, it's too
long.
small and it's too long.
It's
It's
too
too
long.
long.
It's too long.
Yeah, and then but it's a legal document, and all these apps, when you agree to that, you have opted in, and whatever's in there, you've opted in. And there came a point in Facebook where people were complaining about, oh, my photos, why are I own these photos? No,
Not
you should have
anymore.
read the fine print. Not anymore.
Ah,
Now,
yeah.
so that's why some people are upset that, you mean to say Facebook owns my photo and they can sell it? Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, um, and then I'm not gonna get any money from it. Yun. But the professionals know it. That's why they don't whatever they share on these public platforms for their marketing efforts. It has watermarks and all that. So parang um,
Curated. Curated na siya.
in a way
Pinag-isipan.
curated o
Pinag-isipan na, okay,
pinag-isipan.
meron tong royalty to, ayokong gawin to.
Correct. So you just need in other countries. I talk about Facebook. When you register in another country sa Facebook, it's an when you come in, basic lang yung nandun. Then you opt in. Share your photos. It's a different countries in the generally Europe is the when you register or you download an app, basic lang yung kukunin sa'yo. That's why they ask permission from you if you want this, and this. And then you can just say no to all of those and then you still are able to download the app. Minimum sila. Pero sa ibang countries like us, when you come in, lahat pwede na.
Will there come a time?
Then you start opting out. Yeah.
Will there come a time in the Philippines that will be more sophisticated than the other countries?
I always say it's just we have a great law. The Philippines we have great laws. It's just a question of implementation.
Oh, parang traffic rules.
So if we implement traffic rules, building codes, we have one of the best building codes in the world. It's just a matter of implementation. And the good thing is the National Privacy Commission, they're very active in the data privacy community. So there's so many, and they share about rights, and there's a landmark case where lending companies, I don't know if you saw this, but
billboard.
They were posted billboards. That company probably didn't know the data protection laws, because that's ultimate. Even if may utang talaga, balasubas talaga, they will never pay. You cannot post photos with addresses and telephone numbers. The photo was really the kicker, the final straw, because photo, ang kawawa doon are those really struggling, the people who had debts. But unfortunate things happen and they just can't pay, and then you post it. I mean, those people can just file for damages, data privacy, and more than that is yung psychological damage. I'm not moral damages. Sorry, moral damages, kasi impact on you, on your
family,
your family,
career.
reputational, career. So you can sue. So those lending firms are really in trouble. I don't know if they're still open, but the National Privacy Commission or the NPC has recommended charges to be filed against them.
The they filed the case against a company, not anymore the individuals.
The NPC, kasi government, no, the NPC recommends that the Republic of the Philippines file cases against these companies. That's how our government protects us.
Oh, galing
for our companies. So it's just a question of the aggrieved, the victim, if they will testify. But by law,
I see. Parang
by law, yung
dole, parang dole.
Parang dole, exactly. Yung testimonial ni victim will help. But there is a
proof.
Data privacy. Yeah, there is proof. So that's why the government, remember, diba, sometimes the government can file a case against another person if it's going to harm the general public.
Right.
So even if the victim will not
Solicitors General.
So that's how we have to be careful about how we share information, especially personal. Loosely sharing photos na hindi mo kakilala, and then if the person kasi, shinare mo yung photo ko, wala kang right, wala kang consent based on my right as in the Data Privacy Act. Patay. I mean, you can get it.
It's so easy in Facebook. There's always a share button, right?
Correct.
Like,
that's why I don't
comment and share.
Yeah, that's
not
why
unless the person says, share, please share my picture.
Correct. There are some people, you just have to be paranoid about it, that can I share this? Will I get into trouble sharing this? That's
This
why
is
people,
me as a consumer or the
as a
person trying to
sharer,
share.
oo, oo.
Okay.
Let's say you have a nice photo of kunwari, Ricky in your Ricky posing somewhere in BGC. It's
Correct.
really a nice photo, ganda ng sunset. And then you ask yourself, can I share this to my friends? Kasi photographers and friends ko is as
Right.
an inspiration. But I can see you clearly your face. So what I can do is probably ask you privately, hey
Mm.
Ricky, can I share this to my photographer friends? It's just out of courtesy. I mean, let's go old school, no? Um,
Paalam.
if it's not yours, paalam ka.
Right.
And unfortunately, with the social media, nobody asks permissions anymore.
Yan. Wala.
Nobody even credits anybody. So that's why I like the CTTO, diba? Credit to the owner. I love that when people post a photo, they know they can't, or a message or a meme, they know they cannot find already the original creator of that, but they just say CTTO. So
Credit
if
to the
it's your
owner.
friend, credit to the owner. So
Parang
it's just being good
transparent.
manners lang.
Transparent rin,
Oo,
di ba?
good
Para
manners lang.
hindi
And
ako
it
gumawa
also
nito.
protects you.
Yeah,
Yes, and it
yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
yes, it also protects you just in case this Ricky that we took a picture in BGC turns out to be some gangster guy that you're, and then because of that you promoted the photo and he was able to con
Patay
old
ka nun.
ladies out of millions of pesos. You might be a conspirator. I mean,
Considered.
this is just being paranoid.
Yeah.
You can be a enabler or a conspirator. Now that's just the paranoid side of people. That's just my paranoid side. That's why I don't share. That's why I will never share. Kasi nga,
Oh.
unless I get consent from you.
Okay, guys. So please be careful, mga students dyan, pag mag-share, credit to the owner or magpaalam talaga. Oh, I have another question, Sid.
Sure.
So more or less, compliance to the law is your responsibility. How hard is it to ask a company or even the people in the organization to comply?
All right. As the data protection officer, so you come into a organization, you are independent of report to the president and the CEO because she hired you, or he or she hired you, but you have independence from her.
Mm.
If you want to file a breach report to the NPC and it's the president who committed the breach, by law it's your obligation and duty as a data protection officer. Tough job. It's a tough job. Now, as to the implementation of the policies and procedures that you recommend, it's up to the process owners. So, example, Ricky, in your
school,
let's say as a in your school, you're a director. You also teach.
right?
What's your process? Who are the people under you? What data do you use or manage throughout the day or throughout your function as a managing director? Policies and procedures will help you to regulate that so that there is no privacy violation.
Right.
But if you don't follow the rules and policies, then you will get everyone in trouble. I have to report you. And you put not just yourself in trouble, it's the whole company. The
So
repercussions is the company.
There will be parang an auditing na para siyang
There is an auditing, correct.
BIR also, no? Na
Correct.
pupunta sa office, titignan kung tama ba yung mga papers mo. In your part, it's more of are we following the rules and regulations of the government?
Are we following the rules? Is there a breach? And it's a constant checking of what are your processes now? Nagbago ba? Do we need to put in new policies? As an example, HR. Okay, HR handles the employees.
Right.
And then since you're in a school, you handle the students. Those are your
Right.
data subjects.
Right.
So how much do you protect their data? I'll give you an example. Where is it stored? Kasi you collected it, right? The data. Where is it stored? Is it in a database? In a computer, I would assume. Does it have a paper
Trail, parang ano, hard
version?
copy. Hard copy.
Does it have a hard copy? Now, how many computers has this database? How
Right.
protected is your computer? How many people access your computer? Is it connected to the internet? Most probably. Is it in the cloud? Those are the questions you ask. Because when you think about it, where is the potential
Breach.
theft or breach of this data? Kasi when you lose that data, um, that's it. You need to report it to the National Privacy Commission, to your DPO. And then, but as long as you follow your policies and procedures, you should be fine. And your DPO will come in to audit you if you've been following to the letter what has been recommended. Remember, I'm not a DPO is not the process owner. He
Correct.
is just the one who oversees. He's the bad cop, good cop
Bad cop,
for
good
looking at
cop.
your organization. Bad cop, good cop, because uh, most often bad cop probably kasi nga babantay ka eh. You're guarding eh.
Pero
Diba? You're
it's good
guarding if
eh.
everything's secure.
It's good for your company
Yeah, it is.
because
Okay, good point. Good point. Yeah. Good point. Kasi nga you are protecting the life of the company. The most
yes.
serious consequence of data breach is closure of companies.
Yes. That's the
With
important
our
point.
example, you lose money, and then if you don't have enough money, then that's it. I'll give you an example. Facebook, because of all the breaches that happened during the presidential election with
Right.
with that
Cambridge and Cambridge.
Cambridge Analytica,
Yeah.
Cambridge Analytica. So there's a breach. So that's still under investigation. But you know what Facebook did? They donated or $5 billion.
Wala
$5
yun.
billion.
Wala yun.
Yes, correct. You are
Wala yun.
correct.
5
It's a huge
billion.
amount. 5 billion for the ensuring protection of people's data and confidentiality, etc., etc. 5 billion. That will help. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, it will help. Ano yung impact on the bottom line of Facebook? Drop in the bucket. What is 5 billion for that huge a company? Now, if you're talking, let's say another company, and then let's say sabihin mo na lang 10 million, malaki na yon.
Sobra.
Laki na ng impact nun.
Closure.
And for smaller company, smaller closure, at
Closure.
almost closure and stress and heart attack, all the other stuff that will affect you as a person, it's all there because you share the photo that you shouldn't have shared.
Yun lang, no? Isang tao lang. Isang tao
That's
lang.
paranoia. I mean, that's paranoia and I think that this is when paranoia helps. There's a certain quality of the people in the data privacy office. Yung mga OC, very structured, process-oriented. Paranoid is my main. I like you to be a paranoid person na, uy, shinare yung photo. Dapat ba shinare yung? Okay lang. Kanya naman yun eh. Kanya naman.
I think this leads me to the next question. What are the qualities nga to be a DPO? Yan, paranoia, you said.
I just put two in my briefings. It's independence and paranoia. There has to be a certain... I just put... That's just for me, no? But if you check the NPC, they give you,
list.
Being a lawyer will be helpful because you already know the law, yung legal
Being a
side,
lawyer
and then,
or just knowing the law?
knowing the law, okay. Pero maganda kasing function if you're already a lawyer and a DPO, data protection officer. Kasi when there comes a case or a potential case, you can now argue with the complainant and also the counterpart on a very legal. At saka iba yung may titulo ka eh.
Right.
You're a lawyer and also you're a data protection officer. So I'm not a lawyer, and then so when I volunteered to be a data protection officer, it was like, are you sure? Because you might go to jail. You don't know your law and all that. But if you know your data protection law, you should be fine. And
So,
one of the things you should, if you know your law, you should be fine. And then when you go to court, then you have your lawyer with you. So mas mahal lang for a company, pero mahal din mag-hire ng ng lawyer
Correct.
na data protection officer. So ako kasi, since hindi ako lawyer, tapos nag-volunteer pa ako, walang ginastos yung kumpanya, correct?
Pero yung qualities mo,
So,
pagiging OC, pagiging meticulous, pagiging
when
independent.
I recommend, correct, when I recommended to the company that we need to have it looks like we need to a few years ago I said we need to have a DPO. There was not much awareness, and because we are handling data, kasi it's really awareness. You know, it's a 2012 law. When did we just find out about this though? When all these breaches happened
Correct.
globally, diba? So,
Right.
So you become aware of it, and then you realize our company doesn't have a DPO. We should have a DPO, and then so nagkaroon, who should we hire? Blah blah blah. It should be a lawyer, ganyan ganyan. And we remember we're a startup company. Who can take over? By default, it's the president of the company.
Right.
Is the DPO.
Should be the
President / DPO. And even if she or he doesn't know anything about the data privacy law, by law you have to apply you have to register a DPO.
Right.
So that's the first step of any organization. You apply, you register a DPO. Once that's registered, you don't stop there because you need to practice the law. So that's why when I applied, I volunteered as a DPO. I had minimal knowledge of data privacy. That's why I attended a workshop and got certified. So I have a certification recognized globally. So so the company sponsored that workshop or seminar because a company should, so that you have a legit DPO. That's why now I know, there's a lot of work to do. It could have just been a figurehead. Could have just been a figurehead role.
Position.
And then when a breach happens, I am the one who goes to court. And I will be embarrassed because
hindi mo alam.
I will be embarrassed because I don't know the law. I will refer. Let me talk to my lawyer who knows the law, the data privacy law. How incompetent is that, right? But that's common.
Ano ka?
That's common.
Kami scapegoat. Kami scapegoat, sasabihin ng president.
I will be a,
ayan.
you know, I will be a, yeah, correct. I'm a scapegoat if I don't know the law, but I know the law now. So the joke is I'm not only going to be the one that goes to jail.
I'm not gonna go down. I'm not alone going down in this.
But you know,
Pati kayo.
in the end, pero you know, in the end, what's sad is when you think about the impact on the company, everyone's gonna lose their job.
Oo nga. That's
how paranoid you have to think. So your school will shut down if there's a critical breach on your end. Critical breach. Because everything can be negotiated, settled, right? But if the person settlement is give me 50 million, oh my gosh, legal fees ka. And then what if the guy wins the case? You're down. You're dead. You're dead. Diba? So that's why, and it all starts with a data privacy violation, which is usually anchored on ignorance. They just did not know. So the first thing we have to do is know the law, know the basics of what we need to do, and then put in place policies and procedures that the process owners will need to abide by, so that generally our company knows. I'll give you an example, Ricky. If your company has a general knowledge of the law, and then policies and procedures are set up, you do some registration on the National Privacy Commission, and a breach happens. The first thing you do is you don't conceal it, because that's the biggest, as report it, whether it happened or not. Kasi nga, it's an incident, no? You're not sure if there's a violation, but you need to report it. Otherwise, dalawa magiging krimen mo. Yung actual violation and the concealment, which is a bigger, has a bigger penalty. Kasi tinago mo eh.
Right.
So, That's why if you're not sure, report it. Because
Mm,
the National Privacy Commission, they're very fair. They will
right.
investigate, and the reporting has to happen within 72 hours. Pag
72
inunahan ka nung
hours.
72 hours, pag naunahan ka nung complainant by 1 minute,
Oh,
by
1 minute.
law, by law, ano
Concealment.
ka na, lugi ka na by one. Merong pwede na nilang, alam mo naman ng mga legal mambo jumbo, right?
Right.
Mga Google, what's the term? Legal, yeah, mambo jumbo. I
Mambo
forget the
jumbo.
term. That was the mambo jumbo. And they can always twist you. Oh, you did not comply in 72 hours. You complied on the 72 and 1 minute. So by
Which is,
law, the law is blind. The law is blind, right?
Justice.
Yep.
Justice.
Yeah, justice is blind. So parang, yep, you did not comply within the 72-hour time frame. Remember, emails are timestamped.
Correct. Madaling hanapin.
Madaling malaman. So that's where you have to play around with, should I report it? Shouldn't I report it? That's why you have to assemble the breach team, and then you decide, and then everything has to be documented. And then
Right.
if you're unsure, you report it. If you're sure,
You reported
even,
pa.
but there is still a incident report, at least internally. When years down, months down the road, somebody complains, and then ano nga yung nangyari? Okay, we have a record of it. Then you have knowledge is very important. Sabi nga ni weather reporter Amado Pineda, right? Tama ba siya ba yun?
Hindi siya.
Mali. Si ano yun? Channel 7 yun. Si Channel 2.
Channel 2. Si Atienza.
Knowledge is power.
Ay, si
No, before him.
Si anyway,
The Pag-asa. Yeah, the weather, diba? Knowledge is power. You have to research that, Ricky, who that guy is.
Ay,
He's
hindi
a
ka
legend.
makakatulog.
You have to know him.
Hindi makakatulog.
Hindi ako makakatulog.
Ako, question. Kung ako, I'm still studying, I want to be like you. Ano ang dapat kong gawin to prepare myself to be like you?
Oh, great. You just check out the National Privacy Commission website. And just read the law. Just read the law, and then just read it, and then you'll be made aware of your rights as a data subject,
right?
Consequences if there are breaches, and then it's just general knowledge. And then and if you have a DPO, and then one of your students goes to the DPO and says, "Do you know that it's my right to have access to my data?" And your DPO says, "Hindi, amin yan. Hindi, wala ka. Sinabit mo na eh."
No.
There you go.
No.
Knowledge is power.
Talo ka.
Knowledge is power. So and then when the student starts talking about, according to Article 1,
patay ka.
number blah blah blah, and then my right as a data subject is, I'll give you an example, Ricky. If I'm not sure if 100% of your data is correct. Let's say there is a Sid Garcia in your database pero mali yung spelling ng Sid Garcia. And then for the rest of his school life, that's the name that you put. I can demand, and then nakita ko sa report card ko, ito na naman, mali na naman tong eskwela sa name. I can demand that you change.
Tama naman.
If you don't do it, you will be in violation of the Data Privacy Act.
Tama
Your
naman.
School. Now,
may,
did we know that
times,
before?
I guess it's courtesy especially kung nag-complain yung bata. Diba? Mali yung pangalan pa dito.
Oo. But ang pwede mong sabihin kasi as a school administrator, okay, it's up to me whether to change it or not. It's not up to you. By law, you have to change it. By law, you have to change it.
Dapat kasi, yung consequences yun, especially pag nag-graduate na yung bata, tapos nag-diploma, ang hirap palitan. Actually, ang problema namin usually is baliktad. Mali ang sinadmit nilang data sa amin.
That's okay. That's another issue.
Diba? Kasi yung kanilang birth certificate is not the name that they submitted to us. So, may question kami doon. So, sasabihin namin, ma'am, sino ba to? So, yun ang issue. In terms of data input of data. Yun ang pinakamalaking issue namin, yung maling akala. So the kids would say, "Sir, ito yung binigay sa amin na pangalan." Pero pag tinignan mo yung birth certificate, hindi. so, so something like that.
Correct.
Eh,
You're
yung mga
correct. That's
okay,
why.
how do they prepare? As of now, kunyari, freshman sila, and then they want to go, yung parang inkling of DPO. Kasi parang niche na market yan eh. Not a lot
Niche.
of
You
people
know,
know eh.
it would be perfect if you have students who are on, but you're if you have students who have like some lawyer dreams, maybe we don't know.
Mm,
Okay, so pag medyo this might be for kasi your company, your school is IT, right? More
may
IT.
IT, may BA,
IT, all
pero
right.
wala pang law. Wala
Okay,
pa
so
kaming law.
kung IT, you can now go into the information security, which is remember the umbrella. So which is deeper.
Oh,
That's deeper. And then under that is if they have knowledge of data privacy, so it's a complement. Kasi you're working with data. Eh.
right.
So since IT, that should be a good track. Information security, because we're all going to be in the cloud. It's not gonna go anywhere. We're never gonna lose that. So information security, and then that knowledge of data privacy would be add on eh. Because let's say you apply to a company and say, "Oh, I'm an IT graduate and then slash information security. Meron kang seminars or modules that you completed on the internet for free, by the way, and
May
then
ganun ba yan? I mean, mga modules na for free na pwedeng pasukan.
there's so much data, so much information that you can go to on the internet to just read on information security, especially it's so connected to um, your school
Right.
and the benefit of information security because uh, that's what needs to be protected
Correct.
in any system, in any platform, information security. Then when you have knowledge of data privacy, because there will always be data subjects with personal information that will be inputted in the databases.
So
So
ano,
if you had the knowledge of data, tapos kunwari you go through work and then you're an IT guy, you're working in information security, you have data privacy background.
right.
Next thing you know, you become part of the data breach team. Next thing you know, when you grow older, you know already the law. Then they appoint. Then you have to take over from the data protection officer because you know it. Then you get certified. So there can be a track. We don't know how it's gonna be
Mm.
uh, 20 years from now or 10 years from now, how data will be seen. But as we see it, generally, globally, it needs to be protected.
Mm,
People are becoming aware of their rights
right.
as citizens.
At global
And data
citizens.
privacy is an element. Global
Global
citizens.
citizen.
It's an element. That's why yung how we protect our own data and how we protect other people's data is very important. So
So,
a knowledge of it
so what you're
will
saying
help
is
if you
like,
know it.
what you're saying is that these students who wish to have a career in data privacy or data protection industry should start now, uh, understanding, learning, and then in the future, if given the opportunity, it's a parang ano to, feather in their cap or pwede nilang ilagay sa CV nila na they attended X
Correct.
seminar or meron silang online learning regarding data kasi makikita ng HR and pwede siyang gamitin as a no stepping foot in the door to get a job in
Foot in the door.
in that field
Kasi
kasi parang bago pa
you-
siya eh.
you're you're correct when an HR would say, "Uy, meron kang seminar na inattenda na data privacy." There are so many on Facebook na mga data privacy groups. You just join. Now, at the minimum kasi
Meron. May groups.
at the minimum you kasi some people will input no yung college students, or they will say, I want to know more about data protection. So what do I do? So and then people are very helpful. And
Right.
then you attend this seminar, it's free. Lalo na ngayon because of online seminars, everybody wants to have an audience. So the bigger the audience, that's why it's generally free.
Right.
There's just so many, and
Really?
it's really enthusiasm. But at the minimum, Ricky, you know your rights as a data subject. That's it. If you know your rights as a data subject, you know what others, what the minimums that other people and companies would have to do to protect you as a data subject. So that
Maganda.
I would recommend for anyone for that matter.
Di ba may saying na hindi indifference to the law eh. Ano to? Ignorance of the law is
It's not an excuse.
not an excuse. So lahat tayo dapat maging maging educated about
general awareness, going back to we just need to know the general traffic rules, that you don't cross when the light is red. When the walk sign is red, don't cross.
Pero di ba, not everybody knows that eh. I mean, alam mo, kung 90%, baka 99%, pero may 1% pa rin. May 1%.
It's awareness eh. There's a traffic light. There's a pedestrian light. Di ba? You just have to be aware that there's a pedestrian light. Now, you also have to be aware if there's some stupid driver who is violating the law by beating the red light.
Baliktad naman.
Kasi yung iba, ano yan, nag-violate ka ng law. Pero bali-bali naman buto mo, di ba? Kasi hindi ka aware dun sa local driver. It's really just being paranoid that there is some stupid driver who will not follow the traffic light, so I might get killed.
Totoo.
So we cannot just depend on yung, yan na yung naka-red na eh, naka-green na, pwede na maglakad. You just have to be aware.
Tingin pa rin.
Yung paranoia also. Paranoia, di ba? Parang eto na yung ilan na yung mga motorsiklo drivers na hindi tumitingin, tapos pag nabundol ako, kasalanan ko pa. Alam mo sa Pilipinas, sa BGC lang ata, tsaka sa Olonga po ang sa Subic na nire-respeto yung mga pedestrians eh. Pero
meron naman din sa iba, no? Meron din naman. Pero syempre,
kasi may mga signs kasi sa BGC na
malinaw, no?
Para ang priority pedestrian is. That's why if a taxi or some other I've seen it. I mean, I've heard stories also of when you're walking the pedestrian lane and then a taxi would just yung hard stop kasi nga uunahan ka pa, alam mo yun? Yung nakikipag-unahan ka pa sa and then they would slam on the taxi drivers
hood. The hood.
And then talagang get angry because I'm crossing the road here, man. I'm crossing the road. And then yung mga guards, the police in the BGC area, talo yung taxi or talo yung, again, what is that? It's the driver was not aware of the rules. Not reading the signs. Ayan naman. I mean, again, out of courtesy, pag naglalakad na si Lola, alam nga businahan mo pa, di ba?
Actually, ang sabi is, pag tumapak yung tao sa pedestrian lane, right of way na siya. Tapak
Australia lang yan.
Hindi. Nakalagay sa kumuha ako ng license eh.
Ganun ba? Nasa law ba yun?
Oo.
Hindi ko alam yan. Salamat.
Pag tumapak pala
pero
ang tao.
Sa Australia, yung kunwari nasa sidewalk ka tapos nilagay mo lang yung paa mo doon, nasa ere pa lang, ang cars are slowing down already. Yes. Kaya nga pwede ka mag-troll eh.
Air pala.
Balik kayo. Siguro pwede ka namang businahan doon. Well, at least you made, sa atin, yung realities, tama ka, pag paapak pa lang, dapat tumigil na. But marami talagang hindi aware sa law. So again, we have to be paranoid. Kasi nga, baka nga kasalanan ng driver, pero ikaw naman yung nabundol, panalo ka sa kaso, pero bali-bali nga buto mo.
Sakit naman.
So, sakit naman nun. Kaya nga, you just have to be You just have to balance your paranoia with knowledge, because knowledge is
Education.
power,
Education.
according to Ernie Baron. Pare. That's
Mm.
why when Kim Atienza took over, that's just a little bit of trivia. He needed to continue to educate us with stuff,
Stuff,
and that's very
animals.
helpful. Kasi nga, knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is
Oh,
power.
ako, I'd like to thank you so much, Sid, for giving us this opportunity. Ano to I have series of vlogs also, like regarding career development and personal development. So this is one of them. Thank you again, Sid, for your time and your knowledge, especially your expertise, to share to our students. And hopefully they could get, they're able to, learn and grow from this, that they might have this opportunity to become someone like you.
Thank you, Ricky, for the invitation. So it's such a privilege to.
Again, we would like to thank Mr. Sid Garcia for his time, his expertise, and his encouragement. I hope you learned a lot from this vlog. Please watch for our next vlogs in the following weeks. Please like and share this to your family and friends. Also, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification button so that you will be the first one to know when I upload a new video. Now, if you have topics for me you wish to discuss, leave me a message in the comment section below. Okay? As Warren Buffett would say, the best investment is the investment you make on yourself. See you on our next vlog, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye, guys.